At the beginning of someone's life, there can be certain interests and certain parts of their personality that can end up being denied and repressed. And after thinking about this, I wrote an article titled, "Did you have to give up parts of yourself to be accepted as a child?" And this is what I said. During someone's early years, they may have generally been able to express themselves. So, while they may have had to lose touch with certain parts of themselves, they won't have had to completely lose themselves. Alternatively, this may have been a time when they were generally unable to express themselves. As a result of this, they will have had to become estranged from themselves. In this case, they would have been forced to create a self that had very little to do with who they actually were. This would have meant that their behavior would have typically been defined by the needs and feelings of others as opposed to their own. Parts of their personality and some of their interests would then have been covered up and been unable to see the light of day. What this would have done is allowed them to be accepted by one or both of their parents. On one hand, then, they would have lost themselves, but on the other, adapting in this way would have allowed them to survive. At this stage of their life, they had absolutely no control over what was taking place. The option wasn't available for them to change their parent or their parents' behavior, or to find another family that could provide them with what they needed. As they were powerless and totally dependent, their main priority was to survive, and therefore losing themselves to be able to achieve this aim was the least of their worries. Ultimately, they desperately needed their parent or parents' attention, acceptance, and approval. Nevertheless, losing touch with themselves and becoming someone else didn't allow them to truly be loved and accepted. Instead, what was provided, however minuscule and insubstantial, was for the role that they played. Now, many years will have passed since this stage of their life, but that doesn't mean that they will now be connected to themselves and freely express who they are. If this is so, it will mean that their needs and feelings, parts of their personality, and some of their interests will continue to be submerged. If they were able to reconnect to their needs and feelings, and this won't necessarily be a straightforward process due to the defenses that they are likely to have in place, they could gradually find that there are parts of themselves and numerous interests that they have long been estranged from. Once they reconnect with them, though, they could wonder how they ever forgot about them. For example, they may have had to lose touch with their sensitivity, extroverted side, and even the loving side of their nature. As for their interests, they might not have been allowed to do something because they were seen as the wrong sex. What they wanted to do may have been seen as being bad or shameful, and or gone against what their parent or parents wanted them to do. By engaging in this process, they will become a more whole and integrated human being and be able to live a life that is deeply fulfilling. Facing up to how things were and how they were deprived of what they needed and wanted can cause them to come into contact with a lot of pain. Thus, it will be a time when they are grieving unmet childhood needs, and this is not a linear process. But by working through this pain, they will truly be able to let go of their past and move forward. Perhaps after hearing this, you get a sense that there's certain parts of your personality, certain interests, and certain needs, feelings, and wants that have long been repressed. And as I've said, through exploring your inner world, through reconnecting to yourself, you will gradually be able to become a more integrated human being and to do the things that you have not been able to do for so long. And this will allow you to live a deeply fulfilling life because, of course, if you are not fulfilling your needs and wants and you are overlooking certain interests, certain passions that have long been covered up, perhaps you've, as I said, completely forgot about them, then it's going to be more or less impossible for you to feel fully alive and to experience joy because you will not be living in the right way. So if you can relate to this, you may need to reach out for external support to help you with this exploration process and to help you work through your wounds. But the main thing is that you reach out for the assistance that you need so that you can gradually change your life. If you would like to find out more about the services that I offer, please go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk, and I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.